Yo, what's good everybody, it's your boy Malcolm and I'm back for another video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the first season of Kaiju number 8 and whether it is overrated or underrated. Let's get into it. But before we get into the action, make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. It will help me out a ton. I'm super consistent now. I'm dropping 2 videos a week. My goal is to drop 1 video on Monday and drop 1 video on either Thursday or Friday, so you guys get one at the beginning of the week and the back end of the week. But make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that noti bell because I'm dropping a lot of videos and y'all gotta know when they drop. And if you guys want more nerd content from me, go check out my podcast, The Storm Podcast. Every single week we have about 3 hours worth of content talking about all your newest favorite anime, challenges, TV shows, comic, all that nerd stuff. We talk about it over there, so go check it out. But without further ado, let's get into this review. So the first season of Kaiju number 8 just ended and it had the anime world on fire. It was probably one of the most anticipated new anime for the spring season, and it definitely kept that hype up. Everybody who was waiting for it to drop really enjoyed it. Twitter was on fire, TikTok was on fire, Instagram, everywhere was on fire talking about this new show, Kaiju number 8. We even talked about it and reviewed the episodes on our podcast every single week. Everyone in the anime community was talking about it. And naturally, what comes with hype is opinions. And there were a lot of opinions. Honestly, I would say most of them were good, but there were also some negative opinions regarding Kaiju number 8 as well. And that's what we're going to be getting into. We're going to be going through the positive opinions, the negative opinions, the pros, the cons of the show, and figuring out whether this is overrated or underrated. But let's talk a little bit about what the show is. The story of Kaiju number 8 is about Kafka Hibino, who is a regular person who works in disposing of kaijus in Japan. He doesn't have any special powers. He's pretty unremarkable. But when he was a kid, a kaiju destroyed his village and he promised he would be one of the top officers in the game. But he gave up on his dream. He tried really hard, and he wanted to make it with his best friend Mina. Mina ends up being the absolute GOAT, and Kafka is kind of a loser. But Kafka gets re-inspired and decides he's gonna work at that goal again, and right after he makes that decision, a random alien monster kaiju, we don't know what it is yet, slides down his throat, yes, you heard me right, and gives him the power to turn into a kaiju, which as far as we know, no one has ever had that power before. And from then on, Kafka works with the Kaiju Defense Force trying to stop the kaiju. He is keeping his power secret from all his new comrades and higher-ups, but at the very end, he needs to unlock his power, do what he needs to do, and shows everybody that he is a kaiju, and he gets locked up for it. Obviously, as you guys know, he then got let free and now he works for the Defense Force. End of season 1. We don't know where anything happens after that. Now, for the people who have never watched Kaiju number 8 before and are watching this video anyway, you're probably thinking, that sounds a lot like Attack on Titan. And here's the thing. Kaiju number 8 is a lot like Attack on Titan. It's kind of like if you took Attack on Titan and made it more shonen, palatable fighting battle, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause Attack on Titan is a seinen and Kaiju number 8 is a shonen. It's less mature than Attack on Titan is, still super cool. When you think about it, Kaiju number 8 doesn't have the most unique premise in the world. However, it takes a premise that has been popularized through Attack on Titan and kind of does a spin on it. It takes it from a less deep, dark, menacing series to something a little bit more fun, a little bit more light, and it's still really cool. And I think that is why it has gained as much hype as it has, because Attack on Titan is one of the biggest anime ever. It's one of the greatest stories ever written. So when you take that and make it into something new, it kind of works. But now that we've laid out what the show is, let's go into the pros and cons so we can decide whether it's overrated or not. Here are the pros. The first pro I have for Kaiju number 8 is that it's just a great world. I love the world building for this show. Yes, the theme is very Attack on Titan-y, but the world could not be more different. It's regular Japan in the world of fucking Godzilla, where these giant kaiju, they come and attack the city consistently, they fuck shit up, they cause a lot of damage, and it's horrible. But it's so damn cool, especially because there are so many different types of kaiju. They got the big ass crazy kaiju, which I think they call Dai Kaiju. They have the medium-sized kaiju. They're the little baby kaiju that run around and do crazy shit. Like, The bag of kaiju in this world is deep. Oh, I almost forgot. Now we have the sentient kaiju, the ones who can talk and think like regular humans and stuff. I'm not even talking about Kafka. I'm talking about kaiju number 9, and I think he's now referred to as kaiju number 10, the red one that popped up in the last like 2-3 episodes. There's so many different kaiju, and it makes the story way more interesting because you never know what type of kaiju is gonna pop up next. Still talking about how great the world is, I love the way we get to see how these kaiju affect regular life. Cause when you watch a Godzilla movie or anything where like a giant monster attacks the city, you don't always get to see the background of what happens afterwards. And I love how they have the kaiju cleanup crew, and Kafka and Ichikawa were part of it at the beginning. And we get to see that they have to go through and actually clean this mess up. They were even talking about having the deadlines. They're like, yo, how the fuck are we going to clean up this big ass kaiju in a week? And then they also show how meticulous of a job it is. How, yo, some of these kaiju have acid sacks that might explode, or how you're gonna take out the pieces. I think that part is so cool because it's very unique. You don't see that in very many series. And while we're talking about the world building, the power system is cool as fuck. And I'm not just talking about Kafka being able to turn into a kaiju, because that is also cool, but we don't understand a ton about that. I'm talking about the defense force in the way that their suits work, their weapons work, how they have the individualized weapons for the higher ups. That shit is so cool to me. I love that they have to train to be able to get more and more out of their suit. And as they do that, they get more powerful, they get faster, they get stronger, and eventually they can get their own weapon. And seeing the individualized weapons is dope as shit. Shinomiya's big ass battle axe is one of the coolest things I've fucking seen. The fact that it has the power to just be a big axe, but it also has the pulses that it can do and attack kaiju from damn near the inside. And then we got Hoshina's weapon. It's the special swords that are used to cut up kaiju and put them into mincemeat and stuff like that. A little biased. I don't think Mina's weapon is that cool. It's just a big gun. Whatever. But I mean, even the fact that that is a thing and that they get their own individualized weapons, I think that shit is cool. And the fact their weapons got different rounds that they use, like how Ichikawa uses the ice rounds, and how, I can't remember his name, but the shark tooth looking dude, the way he used the electric rounds, like shit like that is just cool. I like it when creators of series go and really flesh out their power system, or flesh out like the way that the characters fight and things like that. Love it. They do that very well. The thing I feel like Kaiju number 8 does really well is it has relatable characters and a diverse supporting cast. First off, we have Kafka, who's lovable, he's cool, he's kind of like the dad character, but he's also relatable in the sense of he wasn't very noteworthy. There was nothing special about him. He was just a regular mediocre guy. And take it a step further, he was kind of below mediocre. He couldn't even really complete the task that he had set out for himself. He wanted to be in the defense force, and he wasn't able to reach that goal for most of his life. But he didn't really let that get him all the way down. He still developed these skills in other fields, which ended up helping him later down the line. And a lot of people can relate to that, because not everybody is going to reach every goal that they want to make, and you have to still find a way to enjoy your life and be happy with that. Now, was he 100% happy? No. But he still made peace with it to an extent. And I just love Kafka because he always picks himself back up, and he's willing to do anything for the ones that he loves, even out himself as a kaiju to the Kaiju Defense Force. We have Ichikawa, who is probably either my first or maybe second favorite character. I'm not sure yet, but he's cool as shit. He started off as a dickhead and ended up being a super cool guy, and he's determined to do whatever he can to help support his senpai. He wants to support Kafka and make sure he doesn't have to lean all his weight on him anymore. He pretty much wants to be an equal with Kafka. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's kind of similar to Kafka and Mina's relationship in a way. I also love seeing how Ichikawa is growing at such an exceptional rate, and I'm telling y'all, he is going to be a key player soon. And you know how every single character gets their own individualized weapon? He's definitely going to get an ice thrower or something, like kind of like a flamethrower but with ice. But he's gonna get one of those, something with ice. He's just gonna be the ice character. I already know it. He's got white hair, he used the ice rounds. He's gonna get something cool as fuck. There's also Shinomiya, who also started as an asshole but ended up being humbled, and she's actually really cool. And we know she has a deep backstory because her dad is the head of the entire defense force. He was talking about her background with her mom and how she died to a kaiju and this and that. I know there's way more about Shinomiya's story that we're gonna get to know, but even just seeing her sheer power and how fucking cool she is enough for me right now. I think she's so cool, and she's a sweetheart. She comes off to be an asshole, but she really does care about those she loves, and she will go to great lengths to make sure they're okay. And then there's also debatably my favorite character. It's a tie between him and Ichikawa. I can't tell yet, but Vice Captain Hoshina. This man is the GOAT. That boy is an absolute powerhouse when it comes down to smaller kaiju. When we get to the bigger ones, he's not as good, but I still think Hoshina is the GOAT. I have even been put on record on my podcast multiple times saying that he better than Mina. He's better than Mina. He's better than Mina. I don't want to hear anything else. He's better than Mina. But more importantly, Captain Hoshina, even though he doesn't seem like it when you first meet him, he cares super deeply about his team. Like, he really loves them, and he really wants to make sure that they're okay at all periods of time. You can really get that feeling in that scene where he was replaying his fight with Kaiju number 8, trying to make sure that no one in his crew ever gets hurt. He felt so bad that he wasn't able to end Kaiju number 8 because now something might happen to somebody later down the line. And you also see how much he cares about people in the fact that he even picked Kafka. Kafka didn't have any remarkable abilities that he knew of. He just thought he had a good heart and he was a funny dude, and that's why he chose him. Oh, and last but not least, we also have Mina. She's not super deep as a character right now. She kind of serves more as motivation for Kafka, but you gotta mention her when you're talking about the characters of the show. The first big positive of the show is the great world building. The second positive is the characters. The third, and probably the biggest thing Kaiju number 8 has going for it, is the dynamic fight scenes. In Kaiju number 8, they fucking scrap. Kaiju number 8 got some of the best fight scenes I've seen in a while. They're well choreographed and well thought out. I like that for a lot of the time, they start the battle off with evenly matched people. Like Hoshina will be going up against that red kaiju, or it'll be Ichikawa going up against Kaiju number 9. And then at the end is when they bring in Kafka, because as of right now, Kafka's just so much stronger than everybody else. It wouldn't make sense if he pulled up to a fight early. But then Kafka comes in, he swoops in, and he cleans it up, and the whole time it looks gorgeous. The art style is great. The animation is great. The choreography is great. When I sat down on my couch every Saturday morning and turned that TV on, I was there for some fights. I wanted to see the scrapping. I wanted to see all that fire shit they had going on. And it's not just the fight scenes, it's the suspense that goes into the fights. In some anime, the main character always wins, but in Kaiju number 8, they do lose. Ichikawa and Sharktooth Buddy got fucked up. Hoshina got fucked up. Shinomiya got fucked up. The whole goddamn base got fucked up. Like, those things happen in the show, so when you're watching it and you're seeing Ichikawa pop off, you're thinking like, yo, is he gonna win? Is he gonna lose? Is it over? I don't fucking know. And it makes it all that much better because I know that that suspense is there. I do know that at the end, Kafka's gonna pull up and everything's gonna be okay, but there's still the suspense of those individual characters there. But as we see, Kaiju number 8 has a lot of strengths, and that is one of the reasons why it was so anticipated. It's one of the reasons why people have been talking about it so much. But just like pretty much any story ever, there are positives, but there are also cons that come with this show. So let's do a little bit of talking about it and figuring out, do the cons outweigh the positives of this show? What I feel is the biggest con to Kaiju number 8 is its heavy reliance on common shonen tropes. When it comes down to Kaiju number 8, it's not that different from a lot of shonen anime that we've seen before. There are a lot of tropes and themes that have been seen before in you name the anime. Kaiju number 8 is very power of friendshipy. There have been many times where characters go above and beyond. They get extra power. They do whatever because of how much they care about the others and their bonds and their friendship. It happens a lot. Kafka does it all the time, whether that's him unlocking a new move or him shutting down his kaiju mode and punching through his heart, whatever it is. It happens a lot. Ichikawa did it when he went apeshit. Hoshina did it. It's super power friendshipy. There are many times where the characters get in a situation where it's like, I can power up and get stronger and do what I need to do to win because of those I love. Then we also have the plot that has been running rampant through shonen, the inner demon plot. Whether it's Naruto, Asta, Itadori, Every anime gotta have a character with a damn inner demon that they can't control, or maybe they have to learn how to control it down the line, or whatever it is. It happens a lot. I'm kinda tired of seeing it. And at first I didn't think Kaiju number 8 was gonna have it. I thought it was gonna be more similar to like Attack on Titan, but he does. When that episode where he was fighting Shinomiya's dad and he got taken over by the Kaiju and he was running rampant and going crazy and this and that, and then he looked inside and the inner demon was kill all Kaiju, blah, blah, blah. We've seen it so many times, and it's just happened so many times recently. I don't need to see any more of it. Story writers, we're tired of the inner demon trope. We don't need it. Also, the trope of the main character just being OP as fuck for absolutely no reason. I talked about this a lot on my podcast. As we've seen, Kafka and all of the Defense Force do a lot of training with their suits to get more and more power out of them. Training is literally what they do for the majority of their day. When you train, you get stronger. Kafka doesn't have the ability to train in his kaiju form, so how the fuck is he consistently getting stronger? He's getting new powers, he's learning how to do more things. In the episode where he stopped the nuke, Kafka fucking flew. Where did he learn to do that? He was able to do that strictly because he was the main character. And look, maybe he's doing training behind the scenes that I don't know about, but him just being an OP main character for no reason doesn't really do much for me. It doesn't help the story. I don't need it. I would have much rather preferred if they even told us that maybe there was a reason why he's getting stronger, or maybe even if he had a little bit of a struggle, the fact that he is just the most powerful kaiju to have ever been seen is insane. Fortitude 9.8 when nothing has come close to that, it's kind of crazy. It's not only crazy, but it's just a little too easy for me. I think it's a lot more meaningful when an anime character can start a little bit lower and they build their way up and they get stronger and they do all that. I like that better. But when a character is just strong as fuck because you're the main character for no goddamn reason, come on now. But overall, I think just having common tropes in the show is kind of a negative against it. The second negative I have against Kaiju number 8 is the plot is really predictable. And understandably so, it's really predictable because it's very tropey. And because it's so tropey, you can kind of predict what's gonna happen next. But in some cases, it kind of kills the suspense when you have a pretty good idea of what's gonna happen. Myself and a lot of the internet who hasn't even read the manga kind of has been able to predict a lot of what was going to happen in the show just based off of it's kind of clear. There's not a whole lot of twists and turns. Even on my podcast, if you go back and watch, we predicted a lot of the plot points that were going to happen. We knew that Kafka was going to get caught. We knew he was going to go up against the Defense Force. He was going to get accepted and they were going to use him as a weapon to their advantage, obviously. The growth that Ichikawa's been taking and eventually he's going to get his own weapon. The fact that at some point he was going to lose control of himself when he didn't really want to. Sentient kaijus were gonna come and attack. I'm telling you, if you go watch my podcast, there were multiple occasions of where either me or one of my co-hosts pretty much predicted exactly what was gonna happen in the next episode. But yeah, I think predictability is kind of a big negative against the show. There are gonna be cons to a show, but let's be honest, every single story is gonna have cons to it. No story is completely perfect, except for maybe Hunter x Hunter. But other than that, most stories are gonna have problems. So let's get down to the verdict. Is Kaiju number 8 overrated or underrated? If I had to give Kaiju number 8 an unbiased, objective rating out of 10, I'd probably give it about a 7.5. Here's the thing. There's not a lot of depth. There's not a lot of character growth. There's not a lot of plot going for it, but it's fucking awesome. I wouldn't say Kaiju number 8 is overrated or underrated. I think it's perfectly rated. I think all the people that talk about Kaiju number 8 pretty much say the same thing. Nobody looks at it as the greatest anime ever. Nobody looks at it as one of the best, but people enjoy it a lot because it's cool to look at. It's fun, it has great animation, has great fights, and it makes you want to tune in the next week. And I mean, yeah, there were a lot of people making big statements like, it's the greatest anime that's coming out spring 2024, but if we're being completely honest, it really was one of the best. There wasn't a lot of things that could compete with it in that spring season. So yeah, I can't say it's overrated or underrated because I think the masses do a pretty good job of balancing expectations. No one really says that it's super great or it's super garbage, don't watch it. I think people are pretty honest about it and people like the show a lot. Not every show has to be Hunter x Hunter. Not every show has to be Attack on Titan. And I think it's perfectly okay to have a show that's just good, that's just fights, as long as you're honest about it. Now, if people started to say that Kaiju number 8 was one of the greatest anime, or it's this, it's that, blah, 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 then I would say it's overrated. But honestly, I haven't seen anything like that. People have been pretty honest about it, and I think this is a perfectly rated show. If you haven't watched Kaiju number 8 and you like battle shonen, you will definitely enjoy this show, because this is the definition of a battle shonen, and it's fucking awesome. I love it. But listeners, please let me know what you think about Kaiju number 8. Let me know what your rating of Kaiju number 8 is out of 10, and let me know if you think it's over or underrated in the comments. Also, if you're here, you watched the entire video, you probably enjoyed it. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit that noti bell, because I got a new video coming for you guys on Monday, and you don't want to miss it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.